All right, we've been leaning into the heavy intros the last few weeks just because, at least here in America, the goddamn world is on fire. Both on fire out in the West Coast, but also with this election stuff and the pandemic. But re-listening to today's program and having talked to Lorraine in the month or two since we did this interview, it just reminded me of how wonderful it is to talk to people who have spent their life trying to write, trying to get their book published, trying to break through, and then finally getting there. And her story, which you will hear, is a ridiculous number of times that it appeared that she was going to make it. All signs pointed to go. Everybody was telling her to start the engine, only to have that all fall apart at the last second. And that's demoralizing. If you have spent your life trying to create things, having it happen once is hard. Having it happen repeatedly is really difficult to explain unless you've been there. It is heartbreaking because creating is hard enough as it is, particularly as a writer, because you're doing that alone. You're doing that largely, in your house, at your desk or whatever, and you have people along the way, but the process is really driven by you. Add on to that, which you will hear, the fact that she came from a working class background. She's a woman of color. All of these things, all of these hurdles, all of these roadblocks in front of her. It's amazing to me that she is as positive as she is and as tenacious as she is. And also, one of the things that was most enjoyable about the conversation was our discussion about the recognition of what the forces around us can do to us emotionally, mentally, without us even knowing it. So we talked a little bit about therapy, and we talked a little bit about how important it is to sort of get through those roadblocks. That's step one. But step two is also acknowledging how difficult that is and what that does to you as a person and as a writer, and how once you sort of see those structures and once you start doing the work, how that both grounds you in your own voice, but helps propel you forward. And after we had done the interview, she was so great. Like, it was such a smooth, fun interview, and we were laughing and doing the things that if you listen to the show, particularly when I get working class writers on the show, there is a flow that happens. And then for her afterwards to tell me that that was the first time that she had done an interview like this was stunning to me, but also is a testament to getting through, persevering, and then doing the work to understand your emotional and mental health, how important that is, right? Because, yeah, this was the first time she did it, and maybe 15 years ago, that interview would have come off completely differently. But now, she has a good sense of who she is and where she's going, and it's just lovely. And you'll hear that as we get to the end of the program. It's the last 15 minutes are my favorite part of the interview, because at this point, it becomes humorous all of the times that the rug gets pulled out from under her. And as she's telling the story, she is laughing because you only have two choices, right? You either laugh or you give up, to which she did not. And, I mean, this came through fashion journalism, through acting, all of this stuff that she was doing, but always writing along the way. So in this time, in this place where we are, particularly in America, having this conversation with Lorraine, who is British, lives in London, was so refreshing and so joyful to me, because it is just a reminder that art matters and your voice matters, and that you just got to keep pushing forward, which all of us are feeling right now. And maybe for the first time in 4 years, we're a little hopeful about pushing forward. So anyway, I know the last couple weeks we've been leaning into the heavy, we've been leaning into the scared and afraid. And that's not what you're going to get here in this interview today. So I'm very excited for you to hear Lorraine. I hope you will all